So how to be friendly in business, how to be friendly in general. Don't be a dick, just have good intentions and be honest and communicate well. Sort of simply put, that is what it is. But the reason why I wanted to talk about this one today is firstly because this was the topic I pulled out of the hat, but secondly, because the way that we are in business, with the relationships we have with the people we communicate with, plays a big role in the longevity of this thing that we're building, this scenario that we're making. You know, if you're, and I think I've spoke about it before, but if you are in business and you are friendly is not to be misconceived with being the nice guy or the nice girl, in a sense where people think that because you're a nice person that you can be a pushover. That can happen in business as well, but it just depends on what the other person's like, if you know what I mean. Like, you can be nice and somebody can be an arse and they can do you over. Does that mean that you should be an arse as well? No, don't fight fire with fire. Be the bigger and better person for a mental state of mind and just for an overall being a better person. My whole logic now is that I've gone from being the nice guy and being pushed over and like having to deal with lots of different things. Again, I never really wanted to be a boss. I just built a business, and as a result, I needed lots of people to work with me. So I employed lots of friends. I've not had a background of entrepreneurship, but what I've had a background of is being a friendly person, being a good person. And the reason why that was important for what I did is that people respected that. Some people didn't. Some people took the piss. But that is life, and not everybody's going to be the version of how you want them to be. Not everybody's going to treat you how you want them to treat you, if you know what I mean. But let's get to the point. So how to be friendly in business. So whether you are dealing with the postman, whether you're dealing with content creators online on social media, whether you're dealing with suppliers when you go to buy stock, whether you're dealing with customers that you are selling to, the underlying thing is friendliness, is if you're friendly, you're welcoming. If you're welcoming, people are a little bit more comfortable around you. If people are more comfortable around you, they're more open around you. If people are more open around you, do you see how the doors continue to open? And I think that probably the main reasons why I wanted to focus on being friendly in business is, firstly, it doesn't cost anything to be friendly to people, right? You can have a situation with a supplier, and the way that you are with that supplier could determine the longevity of that relationship. You could be somebody who is very closed off. Hi, mate, I only want Nike sweatshirts. I only want this, I only want that. And he's going to turn around and go, okay, mate, that's £15 per sweatshirt, please. That's £20 per sweatshirt. Because you haven't built a foundation with him for him to like you. The underlying thing as well with this is not to pretend to be friendly in business. Like, if you're someone and you go, mate, this is just a load of waffle. I don't need to be friendly to anybody. I'm running a business. I'm running a living, and everybody needs to get that. Nobody needs to give a shit about your business because you made a decision to build one. But what people resonate with is people that they can relate to. If somebody is a nice and friendly person, and by the way, being friendly doesn't mean being forceful in business. You can still be a strong negotiated person, whether it's getting a situation with an influencer to send them some clothes to wear on their TikTok, or whether it's a supplier to try and source you better stuff. Some of the relationships with suppliers I had, and some of the abilities that I was able to, the luxuries that I was able to have with suppliers that would go out and specifically source extra things for me, the suppliers that would reserve certain things for me that people weren't getting, the way that suppliers would sell me stock that was for other people. See, being friendly in business is sometimes one of them things where it's it's not, people always say it's not personal, it's business. But to be friendly with people in business gives you leverage to take better steps forward, basically. The point I want to get to with the leverage I made through the friendliness of suppliers is that because I was a nice guy and I took the time to understand who the suppliers even were. One supplier, I spoke countless emails, and we just became friends on an email thread. and I saw him every time I went to pick up stock, and he was one of my main bread and butter suppliers. And as a result, we built a relationship that lasted for 7 years of continually buying stock, continually sourcing what I needed, and he understood where I was and I understood where he was. But that came from me respecting what he was doing and him respecting where I was coming from. But the foundation of that was built on the foundation of being friendly. I've never gone into business with people with a dismissive or a demanding or even a direct approach, because that will only get you so far, and there's loads of other people that are trying to do the same thing, especially now. I would say now, more than anything, it's super imperative to home in on the factors that you can. And one of them, being friendly, might seem like a little bit of like a mindfulness. It might seem a little bit too airy-fairy, like being friendly in business. What is this guy talking about? But if you're genuinely a nice person and a good person, it resonates with, the people it resonates with even more so are your customers. You take that for example. Now I'm not talking about customer service, that's a whole different thing. But being friendly in business, I have heard and I have seen situations before that I'm not going to quote, but I'm just going to reference, where people have worked in business and, you know what, tell a lie. Have you ever been to a business before where maybe you've gone out for some food and you've gone to an independent place? Bearing in mind, I'm not talking about people that work for like Tesco and it's like bigger ecosystems. I'm talking about like the smaller scope of business. Have you ever been somewhere like to a small business, got a coffee or got some food, and you've got a really bad vibe off the person who's been serving you? And I know you've got to think, well, everybody's going through their own stuff, but the person that was serving you was still had to be decided by the manager, who had to employ this person based on the experience they had, and all of these subsequent things lead it down to, if you get a bad experience of somebody who's not friendly to you, your relationship with that business is going to start to be questioned. With what I do, and with what I orchestrated with when I had staff and when I had, a team and when we was working on a process, was I'm being friendly with all the models, all the staff, all the out-of-workers, web developers, all the suppliers, and I'm working on this friendliness because I can then, there's people that, most people won't have a bad word to say about me, and I mean that like with modesty, but most people in the business won't have a bad word to say about me because I've never been in a position to have put that thought into their head. Why, Spencer, is that important? The main reason why it's important to be friendly is because most people won't take the time to consider that as a factor that's important. And as a result, they close the door to even that. Like, I know you probably think it's just natural nature to be nice and friendly. No, it's not. I tell you right now, if I wanted to call out some people that are complete arseholes in this, for many different reasons, I would and I could, but I won't because I don't need to, because I don't need to. And also, that would go completely against a friendly video to then call out loads of people who weren't friendly. I don't need to throw shade on anybody, but what I need to tell you is that the leverage you can create for yourself by being friendly in business, whether it's working with a collaborator through TikTok, working with your local courier and postman, working with your suppliers, the longevity of them relationships and the whole situation is incredibly impactful. So much so that it's just one of those things that you don't really realize until you do it, how this will change. Like I say, as a result of my approach to being a nice person to people that I worked with, like suppliers, I was able to get stuff that other people weren't. Had I gone to a supplier and said, "Oi mate, I need these, you're the supplier, you sort me this out," they'll turn around and go, "Sorry mate, we haven't got any," because he's going to think, even if I could try, I'm not going to because the approach is all off. People are people too, and people respond and bad tones, bad energy is highlighted by natural human responses and behaviors. So be nice, be friendly, don't have the mickey taken out of you in business, but be an authentic version of you and just actually work on the relationships you have. Whatever relationships you've got, maybe you just literally go to a charity shop. I used to be so friendly with people even in charity shops. I got offered flipping jobs in half of them. I didn't take them at the time. And again, unfortunately, I didn't have that time that I was having. Not that I wouldn't have, but what I'm saying is that I got relationships with charity shops that would let me like look at different bits that nobody else could see, because I went in and I asked them how their day was, and I spent 10 minutes talking to them about what they've been up to rather than just going straight to the clothes. I know we don't all have the time to just sit there and do that. And I know I've just said I didn't have time when I was doing that, but 10 minutes versus an actual job. What I'm saying, guys, is it doesn't cost anything to be nice. It doesn't cost anything to be friendly. And it's one of those things that you would be surprised with how many people overlook it, underplay it, and don't actually embody being friendly in business. And if you are, there's just little bits of leverage that you wouldn't believe you'll be able to get. Take it from me. I was doing this for 12 years to some good capacity, and even in those points, I wasn't being some like Alan Sugar sort of guy or Gordon Ramsay and being angry to people. I was still being an authentic version of me, which was being friendly and being honest. So yeah, hope this one finds you well, guys. And I hope you like these different settings that we're doing. I don't know why I did that, but yeah, anyway, see you in a bit.